Hello everyone, thanks for listening to the To Hull and Back podcast, proudly sponsored by Old Zoological Bar and Kingfisher Fish and Chips in Hull. I'm your host Nathaniel and I'm joined by Ant and Will to discuss the international break, Tuchel as the New England manager and a disappointing home defeat against the league leaders Sunderland. Will, Ant, how are you guys doing tonight?
As good as can be.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to go into the intro actually and just be completely depressed. I am, and we've already been arguing before the episode actually started just here in the studio. Shall we just launch straight into the various controversial moments of the match?
Well, the loss to 12-man Sunderland, absolutely. Which one to start at?
Well, let's start. Let's go chronologically. We need to build up to it. Don't we? So, I think the first one might have been the alleged handball from, was it Mepham? Just on the sort of stroke of half time. Puerta would be through on goal, probably brings the ball down and scores or gets a shot, and basically palms it out of his way.
How referee and a linesman both miss that together is beyond me. I just feel like, for me, I hate VAR and I never want to see it in the league. But to me, in the second tier of English football, to have two officials miss that the guy has literally got his arm up here in front of him and has took the ball down away from our player who is last man and misses that, it bemused, because that's a red card. It's not going to be goal. White takes that down. He's one-on-one with the goalkeeper. That's a red card handball offence. They completely miss it, and I mean that's just a pattern that just went on throughout the entire game, and that is at 0-0, which is the important thing. Obviously, that is given. He's sent off. Potentially we've got a man advantage for the rest of the game, and it's a totally different prospect for the remainder of the match. But we can, at the end of the day. Are we surprised anymore? I don't think we are. I think even the Norwich game, there was thought that every single game, whether it's for us or against us, there are refereeing decisions that we see on a regular, and it's not just the refs or the linesmen who are just as bad. I mean, Patrick Roberts has been offside about 6 times that half and never caught in the first half. It gets to the point where it's just embarrassing, and then managers and staff get yellow cards because they're talking out about it, and natural frustration because you're in a heat of a moment in a football game that's emotionally charged, and you're making really, really clear errors, and people are pointing out to you that you're making clear errors, and then you get punished for it. It's something that Rosini had a massive issue with last season. Was officials just can't be told that what you've done is wrong. You can't, or else you get booked and banned and punished. Like their word is law. So we just have to accept that every game, whether good or bad, refs are just abhorrent, and we've just got to accept it and just apparently get on with it. So
yeah, I mean, it's even worse in the Championship that we don't like VAR, but with something as obvious as that, we just don't get any chance to have that looked back. And equally, like Bobby Madley and countless other referees, they are awful in the Premier League, and so their punishment is to manage in the Championship, which is still one of the biggest leagues in world football.
Punishing all the clubs in the Championship and League 1 and League 2 by doing that. They shouldn't be able to ref at all if they've had bad performances.
I mean, the whole system's broken. I mean, VAR is bad enough in the Premier League. VAR in the hands of EFL refs scares me. They would actually make it 100 times worse. Like, they'd probably give that handball as like a penalty to Hull or penalty to Sunderland.
Yeah, even though it's on the ball.
Yeah. No, they would watch it repeatedly for 10 minutes to establish whether or not he actually handballed it, and then say he didn't and give a goal to Sunderland or something.
Yeah. I mean, we exaggerate, but then again, it would be awful.
Well,
I mean,
the thing is VAR. VAR itself as a concept, there's nothing wrong with it. The problem is that people using it have no clue how to use it properly, and as a result, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
That's the issue with it.
VAR at the tournaments, major tournaments, is actually not so bad. I know that in the Premier League they bring the automated offsides, but it's bad enough to get the wrong decision. It's bad enough to get the wrong decision after watching it 10 times. It's bad enough to get the right decision after like 5 minutes of looking at a monitor. It's just such a waste of time, and the experience for the players and the fans is just way worse. And at least it's you've made a decision and you move on with it. But when you have something as obvious as we had today and it completely changes the game, it's ridiculous we don't have something like that. That's not the thing from the game. Yeah, go on.
It was such an important moment as well, with it being right on half time, like to the point where it felt like Madley had intentionally blown early, even though I know Yankees nothing had happened really in the first half. It almost felt like he had to try and cover up for the fact he fucked up seconds earlier.
Yeah, just
and that came after he missed what was two really. I mean, the first one I'd like to see again, the penalty claim. I think it was on Bellumi.
I haven't seen any of the other penalty claims back.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of the others back yet. But obviously there was that call as well, and then there was one where Coyle was running through towards goal and was hacked down either just outside the box or inside. I couldn't see.
That was outside the box. That.
Yeah, but it didn't give that as a foul either, and it just. When you see this, I said this to my uncle at the game. The problem is when you've got officials like that let things go, then you add the handball into it as well. In that changing room, if I'm a Sunderland player, I'm going, the ref's giving us a bit today. It encourages them to push a bit further and just kind of see what they can get away with. And for the rest of the game, you could see it. The trend just continued. The pattern, it was always the same. Like we would win the ball back, what would be a fair challenge, and it would be a foul. Yet Sunderland would do something and get away with it. It was like you could understand if he wanted to be super strict, and both teams were suffering because of him, or if he was inept for both sides. It's when it only seems to happen towards one. And Madley's always been bad for us. Like you could probably get a catalogue of highlights of what he's done with our game.
I think he's notoriously considered by a lot of teams the worst ref in this league. To be fair.
It's just horrendous, and it's so frustrating. You can only imagine as players as well, because like when you start to see red a bit, you start to make the wrong decisions and stuff, don't you? So it can influence gameplay. It's just a shame, but it's tiring, isn't it? Every week, it's just the same.
Especially the handball thing, because like we earlier in the season when Millwall were here, there was that one that somehow wasn't given that was clearly a handball, and then you've got the couple against Coyle, which people can say 50-50 on. I think they were probably handballs, but it feels like just not getting the rub of the green on that front, and it's really, really frustrating. You want to at least get one decision of like some. But I do actually think the handball was maybe worse than the decision on the goal, purely because there's more to the goal one. But he didn't help himself in the slightest. And so on the goal, if we're going to get to it, it wasn't even the first time he'd already interfered with the play. He'd already done it a couple of times to Sunderland.
3 times in total.
The first time. And it's like, you've got to learn to. You'd think a referee would know that he's not meant to get involved in the play. You think he'd keep himself out of it, but he kept getting himself in it.
He's meant to be one of the best refs this country has because he's a Premier League referee, which suggests that the FA see him as, or the PGMOL, whoever it is that hire him, they see him as one of the best referees, and they've therefore put him at the highest level of English football. And when you watch performances like that, you just wonder what's the state of like refereeing and officiating in general in this country if he's considered one of the best, because it is. And it's tiring as well, because it isn't just down to the referee today that we lost. Like, if anybody's just tuning in, we're not saying that we didn't do enough to win the game at all. But it doesn't help when you have a referee who just seems so clueless. And like you said, simple things like positioning, just how you can interfere with players so often in one game. Just be better. Like, if you're considered one of the best, surely you know where to position yourself across 90 minutes without having to interfere with play whatsoever.
It should be second nature, the amount of times he's done it.
Exactly, but it didn't.
I would kill to read his post-match assessment on him by the PGMOL. I would kill to read that, because I can't imagine it being good. But there was a match around these two decisions as well. Let's remember.
we need to go into, if we're talking about the ref now, we've got to talk about the goal. we've got to talk about it now, right? There's a lot of different opinions on it. Before we get into like a huge argument, which I'm sure we will, shall we just go around individually and say a little bit on what we thought, or who was at fault, or whether it was shared? So, Ant, I'll go to you first, if that's all right.
Yeah. So to me, it's just a catalogue of errors. I just think it highlights what a lot of what's wrong with us at the minute. The insistence on short corners. If anyone listens to us on a regular basis, I've never been a fan whatsoever. I just don't think the risk it merits the reward. Sorry, doesn't merit the risk that we take with them, especially considering. And I agree with you on this instance of Nathaniel, where if you're going to have a short corner, you've got to protect yourself. You've got to have someone sitting back, because if you lose the ball on the edge of the box, you've got nobody. And we've seen that. We saw it at Sheffield United. We've seen it again today, and no doubt we'll see it again, because Volta strikes me as the kind of guy who we could concede 6 of these in one game. He'd still do the same in the next game. So this is going to have to, unfortunately, be something we get used to. For me, yes, obviously, there is a lot of mitigating circumstances to today's corner, because if Madley isn't positioned where he is, Malem takes a good touch and probably first time crosses that into the box, or he takes a better touch, sets Drama up for a shot.
I think he's looking to pass it straight back to Palmer.
Yeah. There's a multitude of options that Malem has if Madley is not there.
But he's not going to get tackled. Going to keep the ball. Yeah.
Because he can take a touch in front of him completely unfazed. Sunderland are going to come out and try and press, and then we can try and break the lines that way or get the ball in the box. We can't do that. That is prevented by Madley's positioning. Yes, it isn't. Obviously, Drama being where he is isn't brilliant. He should have dropped, obviously, when he'd seen that kind of brewing, he should have dropped back a bit to protect it. Malem could have made a different decision. He could have just put it out for a throw-in. He could have just tried to stick it into the box, do whatever. Maybe dallied on the ball a bit too much, slack touch, lose the ball. And then for me, Drama should be doing better one-on-one defending. That entire length of the pitch that he's got running with him, I think the lad nearly loses control of the ball 3 or 4 times, and he could have stuck his foot and went back. And he doesn't, and he just basically has free rein to run. And then it's a nice finish. Fair play to him to have the composure after running that far.
Mm-hmm.
Fair play to him, good finish. But that's preventable. That's the main word of all of this, is every single time we have one of these goals from corners, they are preventable. They are of our own doing. And I think when you've got as leaky a defence as we have, we need to be doing everything we can to stop that kind of thing from happening. Teams will clock onto it. They'll see now. They'll have seen us on TV regularly now, conceding from our own corners. They'll know now that this is something that they want us to do. So they'll encourage short corners. They'll encourage mistakes and things like that, and hope that they can get on the other end of it. So, but yeah, firstly, Madley's poor positioning causes it. Malem should do better, and then Drama should do better. I think it's also suspect to the system we're not keeping somebody back. So it was like 4 or 5 things wrong at once that just led to a goal.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go on and on about that as well, but Ant, you've basically said everything there that I was going to say. Will, I know you have a slightly different opinion.
Well, no, I don't have any slightly different opinion. I think the problem is people are deciding that it's either Bobby Madley is the reason, or it's the bad defending that's the reason. But it's actually both. It's both. Because Madley, if Madley's not there, simply put, like I said, we don't concede there if Madley's not there in that position, if he's in a better position. But at the same time, City don't need to have every single player go up for these corners. They don't need everyone to go up.
Especially at 0-0. Like last minute of the match, you could
last minute of the match when Panda goes up, that's fine. But a 0-0 at that point, and the thing is with City is it's easy to moan about short corners, but we've scored from a few as well this season, which people are forgetting as well. So I understand why Walter's carrying on with it to an extent. But the problem is he's so wanting all his players to get involved that he's not seen the bigger picture. I feel. But the thing is, on this day, the issue. I don't think the issue is the short corner itself. It is Madley getting involved. The problem is the rules say that even though he's interfered, he hasn't touched the ball, so technically he can't stop the game. Which is fair because the rules.
It probably is up to the referee's discretion, though, isn't it?
It can be, but I suppose that. But then it's up to the referee's discretion. You're you're treading a fine line there with what referees do and do not want to do.
Yeah, I think that rule is crazy because the offside rule now, even if a player doesn't touch the ball, if he's
interfering with play,
show
the ref interfering with play.
Like if he took Maynham out, if he took Maynham's legs out from under him, he'd have to give a drop ball there, wouldn't he? Joe, you said you weren't going to come on, but you've come on to talk about the corner.
The anger has brought him on.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm back. I didn't expect to be on, but I got back and I saw you only started 10 minutes ago, so I thought, come on. Yeah, how are we?
Livid. I'm livid.
Absolutely fuming.
I assume we're talking about the corner incident, right? I absolutely lost my head at the time. Like when I get a chance in the morning to sit and edit my video, my reaction, I was fuming. But now I've sort of calmed down a little bit. After I'd lost my head, I was proper fired up for it. And it seemed my passion didn't quite go into the players at the end. However, it's obviously Hull City from a short corner, so very little is likely to happen. But it's the possibility that it could. And, should the ref be where Maynham is? No. But equally, after Maynham sort of got the ball under control, not properly got the ball under control, we lost it. And then Sunderland ran 80 yards up the other end of the pitch and scored. They still had to do that, so that's sort of fair play to them. What bothers me most, having watched it back, is the fact we've got no one back. And the fact Cody Drama, who's 2 yards behind Maynham, central to the penalty spot, central level with a penalty spot a couple of yards outside the D. The fact he's our deepest player, apart from Ivor Panda, it's 62nd minute? That's a bit worrying.
Yeah, quite right. I mean, the thing I'm going to say is maybe Madley is the reason we've lost the possession. But under every manager we've ever had, we would lose possession. The only reason we've conceded a goal, which is why we've lost the game in the end, and is the most important part of a football match, is scoring, and it's all about those fine margins. We cannot play that well against a team that's now top of the league and lose the game because of something we should have prevented by ourselves by just having someone on the halfway line. The only reason we've conceded a goal rather than just lost possession is because of the system with Drame being that high, which is why I was livid. And you're right. Adrian has brought Volta in because we play this sort of heart attack football. Volta has conceded 2 against Sheffield United. It's clearly completely forgotten how angry he was with not winning that game, because you want to win every game you play and continue to do it. For audio listeners, Joe's on the phone. Enshep says Joe's talking to Madley to tell him he was, I'm going to say bad, but he's used another word.
What really threw me off, I think, with the Madley thing as well, that particular one, is how long he stays still as well in front of Maitland. Like, he's almost at Madley's feet and then he moves. Yeah. And it's like, how have you not moved at all? Like, Maitland's trying to actively push him out the way.
Like he's asleep. If Maitland had pushed Madley out of the way, we wouldn't have conceded, because he would have booked Maitland and given a free kick. And that would have been better. Yeah. Because I think overall, let's talk about anything else in the match. There weren't that many chances either way. Eddie is probably the biggest one. Decent strike against the post. But overall...
Oh, I thought that went in.
Yeah. It was a good chance.
I was like, because me and my dad were joking about Badia struggling to bring something under control before, in the first half. So I was like, go on, Big Chris. Go on, Big Chris. Then he actually took a couple of touches out of his feet, turned and whacked it against the crossbar. Bum was off seat already, and then it just cannoned off the bar. I was gutted.
Yeah, it was desperately unlucky, wasn't it? Neither side, I don't think, did enough to win the game.
Yeah,
which is why it's a shame.
It was a nailed-on draw. It was a nailed-on draw.
0-0 would have been a fair result of that game. I thought both teams just evenly matched, and considering Sunderland are top of the league now, the fact that we sort of made them. But I mean, it's similar with Sheffield United as well. They didn't look brilliant either, and we just give teams wins at the minute, and that's the frustrating thing because we've got sort of a performance that merits something from the game, and we always come away with nothing from the game, which is the worry. And it's usually from self-deprecating mistakes that are costing us. So we know what needs to be eliminated. Just will it is the problem. But no, I thought I want to give a shout out to Puerta. I thought he was really good. I thought that because he's a bit of an unknown quantity. We were all quite excited for him coming in. I thought he came in with a bit of hype. But I thought he was a really, really good performance. I thought, there were question marks over whether or not he was going to get stuck in. I thought he did. I thought he looked industrious. He was energetic. He was dropping back. He looks really good at holding possession. Seems very strong for someone quite small. And he looked kind of tidy with some intricate passes and some link-up play. So I'm excited to see more from Puerta. I thought he played well. And Charlie Hughes on his first start as well was a massive step up, I thought, from Sean McLaughlin. I think that the system and the playing out from the back always looked far more comfortable today than it has for any other point of the season. And I think that's because of Hughes. I thought that his positioning, his tracking back and his aerial dominance was great as well. So I'm excited to see more from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just about to ask, were there any positives from the game? But we've sort of mentioned them there.
Coyle had a good first half.
Yeah, I think the game in general. The game in general, I thought City defensively, outside of that goal, considering we're coming into this game off the back of a hammering at Norwich before the international break, I thought the defensively we looked pretty solid. Like I say, Sunderland had a lot of ball, but weren't able to create a lot with it. So defensively, I felt a lot more positive going out with the game than I had been the previous few games. And I think Hughes probably is a big part of that because he was superb, really. It was a good showing from him after obviously that Norwich game. He came into the Norwich game, brief cameo, really. He's not fully fit. He's just come back from his appendix issues. And it was nice to see him respond from that with probably the best performance on the pitch, at least for a City player.
I mean, Panda didn't have to make any proper saves against Sunderland, whereas Norwich and QPR had to make about 10, like in each first sort of 30 minutes or so. Whereas, today, much more solid. It never looked like we were getting completely split open. So if we can take that into some more games and not have Bobby Madley or, leave anyone back from the corners, we might actually start to get a few clean sheets. So that's promising. Kamara, I think, surprised to see him start. Miller seems to offer so much more, and I don't really think Kamara is suited on that left-hand side.
I think that was an international break thing because Zambrano didn't start either. So I think that was a common thing with him just coming back. But I'm hesitant to be critical of Abu Kamara because
it's early days, isn't it?
It's early days, and Portsmouth fans and Norwich fans said, when we signed him, on the right side, he'll be brilliant. But on the left, Pompey fans especially, said we tried him on the left and nothing really happened. But as soon as we put him on the right, bang, clicked and was amazing. So because we're yet to see him on the right-hand side for an extended period, I know he came on against Cardiff and played there, but that was when the game was just about done and he didn't get long. But that's the only time we've seen him in his natural position. So I'm a bit hesitant to judge. And I thought in the Alanyaspor friendly as well, I thought it was weird how Valter played Kamara on the left and Jarvis on the right when both of their strongest positions are when they're swapped round.
Is that a failure of the scouting? Because we actually signed Kamara and Balumi at the same time, and they're both better on the right-hand side. Same with Zaroury, where we really needed, Manuel Benson from Burnley instead to play on the other side.
Well, they wanted. I think it's a case we needed two right wingers, didn't we? Because we didn't have any. We had to recall THAB.
Yeah, it's dropping depth is the issue there.
So you needed the depth, but you've got two players that look really good and probably should be starting. The issue we've got is obviously like the international breaks, especially, is that when Miller's playing midweek in Canada, which is 4 or 5 hours behind us, and then travelling back.
Palmer's playing in Jamaica.
Yeah, it's then he comes back. He's not going to start, so they're going to have to play one of the wingers out there. And you've got. It's just how often now, like this season, last season, season before, we always have players that are really good in one position and we play them somewhere else. That's just what we do. I think more or less this season, though, it's because of the international breaks are doing us no favours as a team at all. I think the first one was desperately needed because we needed that 2 weeks to bed in all the new players. But that second one was just more of a hindrance than anything. I think obviously 2 weeks just you on a 4-0 loss and then lose Miller as well as Zambrano because of their long distances travelled. And we've got 3 games this week. So I kind of expected Miller to be dropped anyway and Zambrano because we've got obviously...
Yeah, I think we'll see him back at Burnley. I have a feeling.
Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday in it. So, it's a big few days and rotation is going to be really important. But no, I would like to see Kamara start on the right-hand side, but you can't really drop Bellumi at the minute. He's one of our best offensive threats.
Looks like things will happen when he's on the ball.
Why not? I suppose you could possibly try swapping them full top and having Bellumi on the left and seeing what that works.
Might be that he's better on the left than Kamara. Yeah, quite right.
Yeah, because Bellumi does seem to like sticking the ball in the box, which is something we don't tend to do very often. So I think
when we've got someone like Benya who clearly has a bit of strength to him, you'd think he'd do a bit more of it.
So instead of having Bellumi having to chop inside and then do an in-swinger with his left foot, see what he's like on the left-hand side, swinging him in naturally, and then let Kamara do what he does best on the right-hand side and see what he's about, even if it's just for a game. But like I say, I expect Miller to come back into the side anyway.
Mm-hmm. So when we were going through that tough period and we hadn't won our game, 5 games in, we kept saying, we need to give Volta 10 matches. And we're now at the 10-match time. We've had 12 points, 4 defeats, 3 wins, 3 draws. Overall, I think, if you to give a grade to Volta, either you can do stars or a letter or a number, however you want. How are we thinking about how he started his City career? I'll go to you first. Will?
I'm not going to give him a rating in particular, but I predicted us, I think, to finish.
Oh, I'm the host, Will.
Table,
you have to do what I say. Please?
Anyway, I'll continue. I predicted us to finish. I think we all predicted us to finish somewhere in the mid-table, to be fair. So we are on track for where I expected us to be. The 3 teams we've lost to are all teams who are fighting at the top. So teams probably we was expecting maybe to lose to. Maybe performances can be different on that. But I'll probably give him a 7 just purely because we have won some results convincingly, but we've also lost, I suppose. But we're also kind of where I expected us to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I think that's fair. Joe?
Oh, tough. 7 out of 100.
Bentos has 7 out of 100.
No, I was 6 Bentos.
If we're going sort of numbers, it'd probably be a 5, 6 out of 10 for me. Because although we've won some games, there were sort of little, we played well against Cardiff, really did. But against a team more clinical, it could have been a bit more nervy. But we still won 4-1, and as soon as we sort of got on the front foot, we just had to rely on Ivor Panda to do his job, and he did. If you get what I'm trying to say, then Stoke, I still think we win it without the penalty, but I don't think we win it as convincingly. And for QPR, but we did well, and Panda bailed us out again. So I think, based on what I've watched, I think it's a solid sort of 5 out of 10. Like Will said, it's where we sort of expected ourselves to be. What are we in the table now? 14th, 13th?
I think it's 14th, yeah.
I think we all predicted between 12th and 15th, didn't we? On our big preview with the Aussies. So at the minute, we're on track. I just think there was a comment further up from Bentos about the squad being more than good enough. We just need to stop with the tactical extreme. And I think there are little examples of where Walter can pick up on things. Like, we obviously can't expect him to change his full tactical style because he's honed that over a period of different clubs and years. And, you know, it'd be unfair to say, right, you have to play sort of slightly more tailored towards Rosinha ball, let's say. But, you know, stuff like not sending Drama up and keeping him sitting just inside the opposition half today, they're little things he needs to just sort of pick up on and say you can't get away with that in the Championship. So he will have time to learn, definitely, and to iron out these little tactical errors. And the team, I think, will still get better because there's, you know, still
quite a few players who haven't made their full debut.
Still some players who need to get a bit more sort of minutes under the belt. Puerta being one, Pedro being another.
On that, I was very surprised Pedro came on so late. I thought he'd come on a lot.
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. Yeah, I agree with you, Will. But yeah, I think we'll get better over the course of the season. But yeah, for me, solid sort of middle of the road, 5, 6 out of 10.
Okay, and
I think I'll stick at what the majority seems to be saying, in like 5. I think for me, it's I can see what he wants to do, and I think the games are far more entertaining than the most that we watched this season, last season. Sorry. What I just can't see, I always judge managers on the best managers. To me, always have variations and they're adaptable and they change. And the best managers have to be self-critical and say, okay, this doesn't work. Let's maybe change it up in this. But I just see, for me, it's about. So the teams we've lost to, you expect to lose to, but we've not scored a single goal in either of the 4 defeats that we've had. So we lost 2-0 to Leeds, 4-0 to Norwich, 2-0 to Sheffield United, and 1-0 today. Mm-hmm. On that pattern, we'll probably lose 2-0 on Wednesday night because Burnley are a very good team as well. So the 3 wins that we had in a row sort of were vital in, I think, lifting the optimism and the mood and the kind of, showing that we can actually score goals and that the system can work. For me, I can't understand some of the tactical system in terms of going forwards. Like, they're not using the complete ignoring the midfield is ludicrous to me. Like, I think there were times this today's match where I had it pointed out to me that we didn't actually have anyone in the middle. Malin would push into right wing, Puerta would be out on the left wing, and Simons would sort of, Puerta in the number 10, sorry, and Simons out on one side. And there was nobody at all in the middle of the park. I don't think I've ever watched a game of football and seen so few people in the middle of the pitch in my entire life. I could not understand it for the life of me. I said, I can't. Can you imagine being a scout for another team and sort of doing like a report to the manager and saying, about the tactical setup of the other team? And
there is no midfield.
Yeah, can you imagine him just going, yeah, so they've got no midfielders? You're like, what do you mean they've got no midfielders? They don't play with the midfield. They've got people that are meant to be midfielders. Up the ball on the side, yeah, but they don't play there. I just think that we need to.
Maybe that's the point. It's trying the manager scouting won't believe their scouts so much.
Yeah, just bamboozle everybody in the league to go there. You're obviously insane. They've got to have midfielders.
And to be fair, it hasn't worked. But
no, well, not today, it didn't. But I just think that sometimes the build-up play is just it's predictable. And I think that there will be a point where teams just go, yeah, we know exactly how to set up against these guys. So you've got to have different ways of playing and different ways of winning games, especially in the Championship. There has to be different ways of setting up against people. I'd just like to see us use the midfield more. I'd like to see us be a little bit more conservative against, Norwich away. We probably should have come with 2 defensive midfielders. Let's be honest. Today at home, you can forgive going more offensive because you want to be entertained at home. You want to go and I thought Sunderland were there for the taking if we'd have made slightly better decision making, etc. But I just think the build-up play were very wing dominant, and when your wingers aren't in the game or they come up against good players, it becomes very predictable, like I said. So I like the direction he's trying to take us in. I just think there needs to be a couple of tweaks to get us to where we want to be. But I do agree with Joe that the longer the season goes on, I think it will get better. I think we looked far better with Hughes in the side. I think Puerta looks an exciting addition. Then you've got, obviously, some returning players from injury and things like that as well. And hopefully, as the system sort of beds in more and more, we start to see a bit more of the finished product, and that decision-making comes with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I I couldn't really say. Now, I might want to say C+, because that sounds better than 5 out of 10. But I think it probably would translate to 5 or 5.5. But I don't do 0.5. So that's sitting on the fence too much.
Cheating, isn't it?
It pretty much is. Just like Norwich or Sunderland.
But you'll do plus and minuses.
I think that's more socially acceptable, a C+, because that's the thing I think you could get. I'd go, 5 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 9 if I can do that. I think clearly we've lost games just because of the way we've played, or on the corners. I think you could point out today and Sheffield United as games where we've lost basically just because of how we do the corners, but don't want to stay on that too much. I would be very interested to see how, whether Volta is really getting the best out of the players, because clearly 10 games in and we still have a few players who are yet to make their debut. Rushworth probably won't ever make his debut. He's injured for 10 weeks, just to mention that quickly. But yeah, if we played, someone's put there, play 4-4-2. No one really does that anymore. But if we played, if we got, I don't know who the bang average championship manager is, but would they probably get more points than Volta? Possibly. I'd write off the first 2 games. He didn't really have the squad he wanted, but I think there's glimpses of what he's trying to do, but I do have concerns that he isn't adaptable and that he is going to be too stubborn for his own good. I'm less
I think
happy
the main
with
question
Volta
marks
senior,
over it.
certainly.
The main question marks over its sustainability for me. Long term, would something like this work? If we got promoted, for example, say
0 points.
miracle
0
happens
points.
this season, we finish in the top 6, win the playoffs, and get promoted. Right? Tim Volta will still play this way. Man City away, first game of the season at Etihad, we concede 10. This style of play
10-1.
It's how it goes.
Look at Southampton trying to play Russell Martin style. They're
if you're gonna go down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, with record points.
Might as well.
Scored, conceded, and worse than Sheffield United last season. But
do Derby a favour. Yeah.
Would we get more points than Derby? Do you think, Andy?
No.
Do we pick up the points against the teams around us? Probably not, because we've lost to them all already this season without scoring. So probably not.
It's hard to say until it's all hypothetical, isn't it?
Until it happens.
Double the points that we get, or get 4.
Yeah, and all these, and so like Coxey's just said in the comments there, so Burnley, Ipswich, Southampton, all these teams that go up and try and play this open, expansive, possession-based game really struggle up there, because
you barely got the players.
Yeah, you need like 50, 60 million pound players in every position to play this way safely. That's why Man City are so good at it, because they have the best players in the world at their disposal. Hull City, however, we do not. So it's these style of play across all of football is becoming the norm. All managers want to focus on possession and all this kind of thing. The only difference between Rosinia last season and Volta this season is that this one's slightly more chaotic, which makes it better to watch as a neutral, especially. But I'm enjoying my home games so far this season. Whether it gives you more in terms of points, obviously, is yet to be seen. But Adrian's nailed his colours to the mast and made this decision, so we've got to stick with that, haven't we?
Because no one plays 4-4-2. Maybe if you do play 4-4-2, it'll be effective, because no one else plays 4-4-2.
Forget how to defend against it. Yeah.
Bentos makes the point, though, that our heat map, it was a lot deep in our half today, and we did seem to sort of struggle to get forward a little bit more than we have done in previous games, whether that's just because of the calibre of opposition, like Chris Mepham in defence. He's a cracking player. I like Luke O'Nien as well. Have we spoken about the red card / free kick / penalty / whatever it was yet?
Done all this.
Regarding Chris Mepham?
I've not. Yeah, go on, Will.
On the heat map thing, I think that's an issue with football now in general. I think so many teams like to play this style that I bet if you look at general heat maps of a lot of teams, they're a bit too goalkeeper defensive, passive.
Man City's isn't like that, is it?
Yeah, but they can play forward. That's the difference.
Everyone keeps saying that Pep's ruined football. Everyone's trying to copy Pep. I'm like, none of these styles are like Pep's whatsoever. Do they actually watch Man City? Like their rotations are fluid. They're perfect. The passes are forwards. They're always turning and facing the other goal. They're driving at the defense, and they're constantly then asking questions, going wide, going back inside. It's fast. It's moving. Nothing like some of the possession based. Like Russell Martin, Southampton is nothing like Pep's because it is dull, tedious, static, sideways, safety first passing. You want to see risk taking. I think in the second half, in regards to today, I thought in the first half it was case as usual where we're playing it amongst the back four and the goalkeeper, ignoring the midfield pivot and just using Panda as like the Seri role last season. But second half, I did think we started to hit it long a bit, and we started to get a bit more joy, obviously aiming at Bedia and trying to bring other players into the game. And I like that he sees something's not working and tries to change it in the second half. I just wish we could get it right from the first whistle for once.
Yeah, quite right.
Yeah. And a comment as well I saw also from Bentos. After Burnley, we played the 3 promoted teams all consecutively. That's an opportunity.
It is an opportunity, but it is worth reading into. Like, I think Derby at home have won 11 of the past 12. Oxford have got a decent record at home as well. We're playing them both, obviously, in their places. So they're not completely easy games, but they are games we should be focusing on getting wins from. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Volta's earned that much, hasn't he? I think to have those games. And if we win the 3 games against the promoted teams, we'll be nice and comfortable mid-table or better. So that'd be nice, but long way to go.
Ready for another international break?
Yeah.
Just take the momentum into that. And you mentioned actually that I think we've only had 3 wins out of however many games we played at home. You said what was the worst home year we've ever had? I'm pretty sure it'll be 2009. We've got time to beat the total for that. We had 4 wins then because we didn't win any of the games second half of the season at home. First year we got promoted, we won 4
that was Premier League,
times.
Wasn't it?
Premier League, so even worse than the Premier League. That's pretty bad, isn't it?
But 3 wins in 2024 in the Championship, I think, is.
We've got time. We've got time to deal with that, but as it stands, it is a bit concerning, certainly.
Another comment I'd just like to draw attention to is IBD Warlord saying this team is screaming for Cynic, the absolute quality he would add on that left-hand side. Now that Cynic can walk,
fit, maybe.
Let's just say...
I don't think we've seen enough of Cynic because he's been that injured.
Let's just say if he's fit, we're willing to give him a chance. But my patience with him waned when he did his knee ligaments getting out of bed before West Brom almost exactly a year ago. So if an incident akin to that happens again, he's not getting a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever chance it is now.
No, you see, I think the thing is with Cynic is I think Arjun's absolutely desperate for it to work for him. But we've just got to admit defeat on that one and just let him go. Just sell him for whatever we can get for him in January. Just get rid, because I think if your issue is that what's our winger options for the left hand side? So realistically, it's Miller and Longman when he's back from injury. The right hand side.
Longman could do all
the like that.
Balumi and Kamara on the right hand side. That should realistically probably be the players that we've got at our disposal. But
Cynic, Jarvis.
But I think Jarvis will be probably sent back. Can he be sent back out on loan again? Does he technically play this season for the? You can't play for 3 teams, can you?
Ooh, well, will it count because the Irish season will be finished by January?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
He's wasted his time, and he's just going to sit in the reserves and play for the 21s for the rest of the year, which isn't what he should be doing more.
But again, that's his season ruined because we got our transfer business done so late and had to recall them just so we had someone to play.
And the thing is, right, with hindsight, City Hall could have done that. He could have started against Sheff Wednesday, and he could have come on in those couple of games that Jarvis came on, and we could have just left him doing his thing fine. Yeah, Christian, you're right about his contract being up at the end of the season. I think he's got a year to extend it, though. And about Harry Vaughan,
you mean
he's
George
back with the 21s full time, Harry. He's back with the 21s full time, and I'd be lying if I said I liked it, but he needs a loan move again. He needs a loan move again. And I get the feeling, because his contract's up at the end of next season, I get the feeling he's just going to go out in January on a loan, come back, go out on a loan, and then we'll never see him again. Which pains me because I love the lad.
Not anything to do with City, and no one's really that bothered, which will just make it a perfect segment. But Neil Tiger put about teams being focused on having 75% possession, but it's not worth it if you lose 3-0. I've tried to find an example of a team with 75% possession and losing 3-0. The best I can find is Palace losing to Arsenal under Sam Allardyce, or Palace beating Arsenal 3-0, 72% possession.
I remember famously when Celtic beat Barcelona.
Yeah, I was going to mention that one. Didn't they have
they had 12% possession and they beat them 2-1? And it's like
92% and 20 odd shots to 2 or something won it, and they lost 1-0.
One of the best Champions League results of all time, I say. Very good.
Oh, Chelsea, yeah. Oh my God.
Yuri Elselli.
He's a real person.
Yeah.
Front four.
Well,
we want Vaughan, Shelley, Selleck, and Longman as a front four. That'd be great.
Calm down, Lee Carsley.
Well, he does exist. I can remember speaking to people in the media team, and they've says he's actually got an agent, and we have spoken to him and his agent, so he does exist.
So he's not just from
which
AI
blows my mind still.
Application.
Well, the pictures the club released of Cynic playing against Alanyaspor, I'm still convinced that they are either photoshopped or AI generated, because he's standing on a football pitch without 2 physios either side of him or crutches.
I think you dreamt that. Cynic play? Who's Cynic? What? No.
It's like he went 6 minutes on a football pitch without breaking down.
I'm dying. It's incredible, really.
We flunked £4 million on.
Oh, awful. Will, you mentioned Lee Carsley. Shall we mention something about another German manager?
Yeah, on that, why have we got a German in charge? The manager should be someone from Hull.
It's woke, isn't it? It's woke. Woke nonsense. Thomas Tuchel is the New England manager. And as a 16th German myself, I can't be too offended by that. I was desperate for the FA to hire someone who's won something before, because I think worth a go, right? So I'm happy with it.
I'm happy. Absolutely happy.
And I'm more happy that he's won knockout trophies. He's got a very good record in actual competitions of.
He won the Champions League with an unfancied Chelsea side.
Precisely, beat Man City. Man City a few times.
Was it Danny Mills who said, Frank Lampard got him out the group? It was a group with Krasnodar.
Ajax.
Who was in
after
that?
Ajax was
Chelsea
good.
2021 Champions
Sevilla
League.
Frank Lampard is English, so should clearly be England manager.
I understand.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that bit.
Yeah, I do understand the debate to say that when it's a shame, and it's sort of the state of English coaching if it isn't an England manager good enough. But I disagree completely that the manager has to be English. I think the fact is no English manager, bar Eddie Howe, who's getting paid huge amounts at Newcastle.
And it would cost quite a bit to get hold of him for England.
Yeah, and have to buy him. There aren't any English managers good enough to warrant having an England job, because the players are so good.
The ideal situation is that there is an English manager good enough. Everyone would prefer to have an English manager in. Of course. We want to win major tournaments with everyone being English and whatever. That's kind of what international football is meant to be. But unfortunately, there isn't abundance.
There isn't one.
There isn't no English managers that have got. I think the last English manager to win anything of note was Redknapp in 2008 with Portsmouth.
Yeah, the League Cup in 2008.
So we're approaching almost 2 decades now without an English manager winning it.
Last English manager top flight.
What about the Papa Johns?
United in 1992.
I was just going to say, was the last one who won the top flight when Leeds won it the year before the Premier League started.
Before the Premier League existed. And as we know, football didn't exist before the Premier League. So
no English manager ever won the Premier League. No. So, I mean, the issue is your best current available English option would be Eddie Howe. But like we said, he's in a job and he's won nothing. So
Graham Potter, who doesn't seem to want to be involved in managing at this moment in time. After him, who's your next choice? Sean Dyche. I won't want him anywhere near the England squad.
Sean Dyche, Steve
Lampard,
Cooper, Gerrard, Rooney.
Steve
Cooper Welsh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't count then. Don't count. burn him at the stake.
But the same people who were criticising the fact that we've got a German in charge would have also probably been doing cartwheels if we'd have got Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
Or
Yes,
if we'd
exactly.
gone for Pep Guardiola, who is like, that was the dream. If we could have gone for Guardiola in summer, if Man City get found guilty on like all of their charges or whatever, and Guardiola's like, nah, screw this, I'm off. That would have been perfect. But we're obviously not going to. Yeah, they obviously didn't wait for him. But as long as we have a manager that knows how to play attacking football, utilise the best of the offensive talent that we've got on show, which is what we've been asking for a few years, it's quite clear that our defence is the weakest point of the England squad at the minute. I think.
And the good thing about Tuchel is he's someone who's always sort of prided himself on a decent defence.
Yeah, and he knows how to get through knockout football. He's got tactical depth. He's got ability.
That doesn't matter that he's always prided himself on a decent defence, because Frank Lampard topped a group with Krasnodar and Rennes in it.
Rennes. Yeah.
So the thing, God save the Queen for a German monarchy.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I said this to you, didn't I? Well, I said this to you, didn't I? All these people saying it should be an English manager. Like, do they know that Queen Victoria married Prince Albert, who was German, who's
Probably
the reason
not.
we have Christmas trees in this country?
To be fair, you got a bit far there for a lot of people. I think they just know that the one's German.
Yeah. Equally, I've completely forgotten what I was about to say. That's a shame. No. Well,
I mean, the Daily Mail did put it best. It's a dark day for English football. I mean, they've got it on their own track record. They don't like Germans. The only German they've ever liked is Hitler. So,
yeah, that was what I was going to say. By the end of the season, if he finishes top 10 in France, Rossignol will probably be top 5, maybe top 3 English managers.
Will Still a good left field choice is him and Will Still.
I don't think Will Still's Will Still's like Steve Cooper though, isn't he? We think he's English, but he's actually not. He's Belgian.
Right.
Is it like Lee Carsley being Irish, that though?
Yeah. I was going to say Cooper. I thought Cooper was English, but we just think he's Welsh because he was at Swansea.
Yeah, he's Welsh.
I mean, to be fair, half the England players.
He managed England's. Was it under 17? Steve Cooper managed England. He won the World Cup. He was the one who won the
World Cup with Ryan Brewster, Phil Foden, Freddie Woodman, Joe Latterberdieri.
Ryan Brewster. Awful. Just saying his name just brings the mood down. Poor Ryan Brewster. Sorry, Ryan Brewster.
Anyway, Tuchel's a good shout. Anyone who disagrees is just being a bit silly. If the reasoning is because of nationality, they're being stupid. Yeah. If the reasoning is tactical, that's their own opinion. But
it's worth a go, isn't it? It's certainly worth a go. And then the only other news I think we want to talk about, we don't know why. There's all sorts of rumours about why he's left, but Tankester has left.
Right. I'm going to say right now, before you start this segment, I am not saying anything for threat of legal action.
Yeah.
So if anyone watches this, if these lot want to say something, that's their choice.
Just don't point to any reasons why. All we know is that he's left his role in mutual consent. So, as fans, it's going to be like, I wonder what happens there. We're just going to have to wait and see whether or not he does I think we're due another Q&A, aren't we? Maybe we've got one.
Bentov did ask earlier, we're due another Q&A. We probably are, to be fair.
Yeah, an impromptu one with 2 days notice or something like that.
All I'm going to say is we're probably not going to find out for a while. And when we do find out...
Listen,
I don't think we'll ever find out.
If he's been sacked, it's obviously because he's done something wrong, i.e. we don't want him here anymore. So, realistically, draw whatever conclusions you want from it. But the club has sacked him, it's done. We'll just have to see if he appoints a successor.
Move on, see who he gets in now.
Yeah. The biggest thing is get the replacement right. As for Tan, look, we do need to tread carefully because this is now supposedly a matter for the courts. According to the reports in Turkish press. So we do need to tread very, very carefully about how we speak about this, how we report about this. Everything in the press is allegedly. So we'll
his what defence?
we'll have to see. But as far as I'm aware, it came out the blue to a lot of people at the club as well.
Yes.
I put in our little group chat that, as far to my knowledge, everyone who works behind the scenes at the club, so anyone who does any sort of fan engagement work and people like that, found out in an email 5 minutes before the press release came out. So it was as much of a surprise to us as it was to them. And they know as much about the situation as we do. So I think only the people high up at the club who would have worked closely with Tan will know anything about this. So we've just got to sort of sit back, let the courts do what they need to do if it's a matter that's gone to court, which supposedly it has. And we've just got to focus on the football, I suppose.
Yeah, we want to win quickly before, January, of course, because he was right up there with, dealing with other clubs. Bentos, does he have to hand back in his brain team membership card?
Unfortunately, so.
My word, brain
He
team.
can pick on his CV, though. Not that it'll do him any favours.
Yeah.
Football brain team, Hull City AFC 2022 to 2024.
Crazy.
Yeah. Just on a personal note, I just to Tan, if he's interested in any of this stuff that we're talking about, still the club. I liked him. He was a nice guy, friendly, warm, kind, and we don't know why this has happened. So I just want to say I wish him the best.
Yeah. I have absolutely no idea what's happened, so I'm not going to wish him the best because
I have an idea what's happening. I'm not saying a thing.
Yeah. Well, don't say that because then people are going to keep asking you. You don't know.
They can keep asking, but like when I knew Vieira Philogene was coming, I'm not saying a word.
To be fair, you did pretty much tell us it was Philogene. Well, no, you didn't tell us, but you didn't say no when I kept saying. I did say it was Philogene 100 times. You didn't correct me, so
we'll try and get once it's all sorted and stuff, and the reasons are made public. We'll try and get his number, and him and Joe can do like a
from jail
Morgan style interview.
The thing is, my interview with Tan 2 years ago was this close to coming off as well, and I'm never going to get it now. I am livid.
Yeah, you might do in the future. Handbrakes all.
Well, once the court ruling has been done, I will try and speak to Tan, but I think he'll be a hard man to get hold of.
Can we move on to happier things?
Yeah.
Happier things. Oh, yes, that's quite right. The Raich Carter Trophy.
Only took several years, but finally he's where he belongs in the Hull City Hall of Fame.
It should have been the first one.
Should have been the inaugural person, exactly. He's probably the greatest footballer to play for Hull City.
Someone's going to turn around out there and tell us that they waited purposely so they could do the Raich Carter Trophy.
To be fair, it was a good idea to do it in this game. It was because he did it at Sunderland and he's a legend of both clubs. It makes sense.
But we played Sunderland before.
Ages ago.
Yeah.
Well,
I do like the fact they've already said as well that every year there's going to be obviously the voted inductee and there's going to be one that a panel chooses. So at least players, there's obviously going to be a bit of recency bias in the fact that a lot of fans didn't see a lot of these players. So that's why you see players like Bambi and Dawson and then getting in early against these other older players. But now there's this panel, we're going to see a lot more maybe heritage players getting in there who deserves like their flowers.
So just out of curiosity, the nominations last time round were Matt Bell, who played for us from 1919 to 1931, Raich Carter, Viggo Jensen, Keith Edwards, Tony Norman, Billy Whitehurst, Warren Joyce, Justin Whittle, Stuart Elliott, and Nick Barmby.
Make an argument that all of them should be in it, and they probably all will be in it eventually.
So Barmby won. The inaugural members were Ian Ashby, Billy Bly, Chris Chilton, Andy Davidson, and Ken Wagstaff. 2019, Pete Skipper was added. Then 2020 was Dean Windass. 2021, Gareth Roberts. 22, Andy Dawson. And 23, Nick Barmby.
Good list, that. Good list.
Yeah.
Where's Deli Adebola?
Big names missing still.
Where's Deli Adebola?
Where's Martin Putic?
Mbakani, he's
Nick
been
Proschwitz.
Where's Yanakopoulos?
Yeah.
Marcus Maddison. Anybody?
Walsh.
Content idea: the reverse Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the very worst We should actually do that. Next international break, we're going to do
Hall
the
of
worst.
Shame.
Hull
Yeah.
City
Next international break, tune into Tigers Talk, everybody.
Hall of Shame.
I genuinely think that it would be more controversial and more difficult to find the worst Hull City 11 than the best.
Yeah, because there'll be some players from like the 1940s and 50s that you've never heard of.
Yeah,
But we don't even talk about the ones we know.
And we're absolutely not. But you obviously don't know them.
Yeah, the worst we've seen, or since 1990 or something, we could say like that. Yeah, cynic.
Oh, there's plenty from the 1990s that should be in that.
Well,
yeah, I would argue
all
most
of them.
people who played for us, since we went into the MKM, shouldn't be in there, or many in the 90s.
Yeah. Bar maybe Danny Graham or someone.
Hey, Danny Graham at least scored.
He did.
He scored one goal and didn't celebrate.
I liked him. Until he crashed into that shop front in Durham, drunk driving. I went off him then. That wasn't too good. Yeah, Cynic would get injured getting out of the car for the way to the awards. Yeah, he would. Burnley next.
Stretcher.
Yeah, Burnley next. I don't really want to talk about it because it's going to be pretty miserable. We'll probably just do a post-mortem after we probably lost 2-0 from two our own corners next week.
The good thing about Burnley is that I don't think they look as good as they did the last time they were in this league.
No,
they're obviously still going to be up
there.
there.
Decent, but not way near that good.
Yeah, I think it's because they've got Scott Parker as manager. I've never.
Scott Parker is just.
He's the only manager I know that's got like multiple promotions, and all the teams still don't like him. Like, so there's obviously something wrong with him as a manager. But
he's not good.
He's. I want to say they seem like they're there. We could hurt them, but we just don't seem to be doing it against the better teams, do we? And just give soft goals away. So it would be nice to sort of flip that and get a bit of a surprise result against them. And I think just for the home form needs it again, just like we did against Cardiff. We need to be getting 2 or 3 good home results in a row, because I think the home form, I think, is the reason for the atmosphere. I think at the minute being a bit flat. I think today as well it was quite poor. So get a nice win against Burnley, get everybody racing again. But it's gonna be tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think just put it as I know people go, it doesn't matter if we win or lose. Just put in a decent performance. Like today, there was clear promise there. There's clear base to work from. Carry on from where they were today. There's a chance, but it's Burnley. I expect us to still lose, but it's not. It's a fixture at the start of the season. I would have considered a free hit regardless of where we were in the table. So it's one where I'm just hoping at least give a good performance of yourselves, giving a good account of yourselves, and show that there's something there. And if you who knows, maybe get something from it. But I won't consider it the end of the world if we do lose to them.
But what if we get absolutely tonked again, like 4 or 5-0?
But that's different because I didn't say that. I said if we get a good account of ourselves.
The problem is that I think the problem is with this system, that's always a potential against sides that have got really good attacking players.
But Burnley don't score many goals.
Which means we're going to lose 5-0 now.
They haven't played a team like us yet.
We're going to lose 5-0 now. Nice one.
We give teams about 5 or 6 good chances a game just through our own ineptitude. So
yeah,
it's just whether or not we can score. Also 4, 5, and 6.
And we have shown we can score. It's just not against the major teams. Yes.
I think, today was a good example. It's always end product with us, isn't it? Same was last season. How many times did we say last season? That
in
final
general,
pass,
today's performance in general was fine. There was
final pass, the final decision, that just little bit of quality in the final third. Like, I think Slater, when he came on, made some really good runs into the box. Pass went behind everybody. It happened 2 or 3 times quite quickly, and it's just like, if these final balls were just a little bit better, or if they take 2 or 3 less touches, or they shot with their other foot instead of insisting on using the strong one, we'd probably have a few more wins.
Another one would be stop telling players to shoot every single time, and then when they do shoot,
within 30 yards of goal. But that's because we just want to see goals, isn't it? And I think was it Simons today?
It was Simons,
He ballooned it about 40 yards over the bar, and I was like, well,
and then suddenly no one shouted shoot anymore. It's funny that.
It used to be Seri, ironically, because he just could not shoot, but now it's
awful.
But even his goal against Middlesbrough, didn't he? He was inside the box and he got it as high up in the goal as he possibly could.
Shocking.
Is there any changes we'd all make?
Miller
would come in for Kamara. Definitely.
Zambrano in for Simons.
Just find a way to drop Merlin, please. Merlin is my scapegoat. I know it's not nice to say drop this player, but drop him.
When your favourite player is Longman and you got so upset about people scapegoating him and now you're scapegoating someone yourself, you massive fucking hypocrite.
But that's why I said he's a scapegoat, right? Rather than just do he's awful. No, I mean, I don't see what he offers just yet.
Abdush has got a minor hamstring problem.
I was going to say he was at the game because he briefly came into the press room. So he was at the game. He just was in. He's obviously got a hamstring strain. So obviously, was in the team.
I think I saw Carl Rushworth there as well. From where I was sat in the south, it looked like Rushworth sat above the dugout. So the injured players are all there, but Amer's just got a minor little hamstring thing which kept him out of Norwich, and he's close, but they didn't want to risk him. But for me, if he's fit, you chuck him straight in.
He's probably going to be on the bench on Wednesday.
So what do we think is our strongest 11? Because I still don't know it.
I actually don't know. I genuinely don't know.
I think we can all agree on Panda.
Yes. Coyle.
Yes.
Jones, Hughes.
Yes.
Left back up for debate.
Yeah.
That's why I can't decide because I don't know who to put at left back.
Zambrano. Yeah.
Someone alongside someone else in midfield.
I think we only know Zambrano and two others.
For me, I'd go either Slater or Puerta alongside Abdush. Central. Come on, man. Do it.
Over Merlin, over Palmer for now. Bellumi and Bedier. And
Bellumi, Bedier, Miller.
Yeah, it's just those two in midfield.
But we haven't seen Kamara on the right yet, so we don't know.
We haven't, yeah.
I'd be very happy to start Bellumi on the left and see how that goes and play Kamara, because it might be that actually Kamara isn't good on the left, but Bellumi is, because there are some wingers that can play both sides.
Alzate comes in instead of Slater or Puerta for me. I totally forgot about him.
I personally would say Alzate purely because we haven't seen enough of him, but he probably would be our best choice.
To be fair, I don't mind Simons.
I thought he played well today. I just think that Zambrano's better. It's not to say that Simons is bad. It's just that I think Zambrano gives us a bit more. I just think it depends what kind of away from home you'd want to see maybe them together and sit them both a bit deeper, and then have like a box-to-box in front of them, and then at home one of them, and then because I'd like to see Palmer start in midfield personally. I think he gives us a bit of something. I think he's a bit of a maverick, but I like that about him. I think if you put obviously Palmer alongside someone like Puerta or Alzate or somebody like that, I think Alzate is probably our closest player technicality-wise to Seri. But obviously we can't play him because he's not fit. But the midfield for me is the hardest one because I think that's, again, it's pointless though as well because we don't use the midfield. Primarily, we should be first South American backs and wings, because we don't really use the midfield at all. And I think that's why players like Malem are starting to suffer because their game now is mostly just 90 minutes of running forwards and backwards on the pitch and trying to tackle somebody. They don't really receive the ball. So you might as well just have three gritty defensive midfielders in there that are just willing to run around and kick people.
Or three strikers.
Yeah.
Wow. Anything else to mention?
No.
I'll take that as a no, Will.
Cool. Viva Dokan Cynic.
Viva Do, yes.
Are we not predicting the Burnley game, or we're just all assuming it's going to be a loss?
Lose.
Well, Will, you know it's going to be 3-0 to Hull City.
Of course it's going to be 3-0 to Hull City.
Drama.
See, that's why I don't ask you.
Personally, for me, drama just at the minute because I just think from whatever we've not seen the Ryan Giles that we're meant to have.
I put Cole left back.
Drama today. I know it's but he gave Patrick Roberts so much space and he didn't get a chance to do a lot of it because once he cut inside, we compressed him well. but the amount of times he had the freedom of that side of the pitch really did concern me. And I thought drama came inside a bit too much.
I think it's hard because
he's probably still better defensively than Giles.
Yeah, I think if you ask me who I trust more defensively, drama. I think today it was difficult
forward. I trust Giles.
Yeah, Roberts is a left-footed player and he's very left-footed. So as a defender, you would want to push him onto his right foot where he's uncomfortable. But Drama is right-footed, playing on the left, so he didn't want to push him on.
He wants to keep on his own strong foot.
He's on his left, so he didn't want to do that. So it was a bit of a weird matchup. But that's what happens when you've got obviously right-footers playing on the left. But such is Giles' form that's been forced upon us that we've had to play Drama there because Giles, despite being left-footed, gives us absolutely nothing defensively, and we're yet to see anything from him offensively. So he doesn't even give us that added benefit of it's all right. We might concede some goals with him in the team because he creates them. He doesn't. So I don't know what it is with Giles. I don't know why I can put my finger on it. Maybe now out of the spotlight, out of the team for a little bit. Obviously that Middlesbrough transfer business sort of under wraps. When he comes back in the team, we might see the Giles that we all thought we was getting. But
he's got to prove himself now, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's
not. Giles would be great if it was a back three with wing backs. I think he'd be fine.
Yeah, wing back's his natural position, I think. And it'll hurt him. It'll hurt him being a natural left back, probably thinking his position is nailed on every week, to getting dropped for a right back. That will hurt him. So
100%.
Hopefully he uses that as a bit of motivation in training, knuckles down and comes back a better player.
You hope so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Quite right.
Yeah. Crumble was back.
I didn't get any. It was sold out.
Well, I got sent to get some because we went in the ground at 1:30 and one of the lads, Josh, he got a hog roast and thought it was disgusting, so didn't finish it. So sent me down with his card to get him an apple crumble. And he then says, I mean, I've got it, so I'll eat it, but I don't really want it. It's crap.
I really
doesn't like the food at Hull City.
Yes, he just wants his meatball box back. He's a simple man who wants simple things, and that simple thing is his meatball box. Well, you know what he's like with his food from the times at Ferriby.
True.
Yeah, Matty Jacob. Yeah, he's gone from.
It says a lot that we completely forgot about his existence, which is quite bad.
I just don't. I like Jacob as well. I'd probably like to see him have another chance in the team. To be fair.
Now Hughes is out because I think him and McLaughlin that was a bad pairing. Maybe he'd do better with Hughes in there, quite possibly.
30 quid for a cap, Coxey. I bought 2.
Is that them new ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm no longer surprised by merchandise pricing anymore.
I was going to say, I didn't buy one. So.
It's quite reasonable, actually, compared to some.
New jacket today.
I did notice that as well. Another jacket for people like me who can't stop buying them.
I
can't stop buying them, but I haven't got room for any more.
I haven't bought any Hull City merchandise for 2 years.
Poor fan.
So I don't know if that makes
you didn't even pre-order yourself an anniversary shirt.
And fail to get it.
Oh, Nathaniel, that's poor.
Well, if you remember the kit episode we did, I said that the 23 season kit was the best we've ever had. So I'm done. So
yeah, you're struggling there.
Yeah.
You should all wear all of your City gear at the same time.
I might try that one time.
That might be a bit difficult because
I might die, but I might try it.
Like Buckaroo. Well, the thing is, Bentos, I've got shirts from when I was 7 years old. I don't think I can fit in them anymore.
I've not got that many shirts left. A lot of mine stopped fitting me. I got a bit too big for them, so I sold quite a few of mine. So I actually don't have that many. I'd only have like 4 shirts to put on, I think. 5 when the anniversary one finally makes an appearance in, 3 months' time.
Well, someone said that they got an email saying it's going to be like quite soon for them for their anniversary shirt. So it might not be January time when you get yours, you never know.
Nice.
That's worth pointing, actually. Do we think we might shift McLaughlin in January? Because there was teams in there for him in summer, weren't there?
I mean, I would.
Obviously, it'd mean us having to sign another centre-back, but He's not going to be happy being second fiddle again, is he, Maka? Let's be honest.
I mean,
For like the fifth time.
McLaughlin's gone through periods of not playing for like 9 months and then getting straight back in the side for a while.
Yeah, but with Greaves, he was understudy to Greaves. And then I think when Greaves left, he thought, all right, here we go. Now I'm going to be first choice. Then we went and signed Hughes. He's like, for fuck's sake. He probably would just want to go somewhere now and play.
I don't think Sean does. I think Sean's happy here, settled here. The vibe I get from Sean McLaughlin when I speak to him is he loves it here. And
he's not going to stomp around spitting his dummy out, is he? Because
he's not that sort of character to do that.
Yeah. I can he might be happy as Larry walking about, but then when he sees the team sheet and sees he's been dropped for some young lad we've just signed from League One, he's probably thinking, why am I still here? And if there is solid interest in him, where a team might buy him, I personally would see the club. Yeah, we've got Finn Burns as well, but I would see the club accepting a bid if it was decent enough.
Have we reached the section where Joe starts name dropping now? Bentos, do you remember what's his name?
You got there about 50 minutes ago, I think.
About Finn Burns.
I
think he's a bit like Rushworth in that the loan doesn't sort of really make sense now. When you consider other signings we've made.
Well, he's like a backup centre half, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's just never going to get a look in.
I know we've been using him in midfield, but let's be honest. Anyone at 6'5" is not a midfielder.
No,
I just don't think.
Can we end the episode now?
I've been
clearly
trying
reached the limit.
We've
clearly reached an end.
15 minutes. Well, I've been trying to get in there, but I can't. Yeah. Well, we'll do another episode very soon.
We've got Tigers talk, haven't we? Obviously midweek, but because we're playing on Wednesday, it's being pre-recorded. So, if anyone does have, you're not doing anything special for it, are you, Joe? Isn't it? Not like the last.
No, that I'm aware of.
So, yeah, if anyone's got any questions or anything that we haven't answered on this one, send them in for obviously Tiger Talk, and then that'll be released on Wednesday. You have to watch after the game, I suppose.
We're recording that tomorrow at some point, so if you've got any questions that you want to ask me, AD, Christian, Paul, etc., any of you guys jumping on?
I won't be tomorrow night. I'm working.
Who knows?
Okay.
My brother is visiting, so no.
Okay. Yeah, so if you've got any questions, tweet me, tweet the podcast, tweet AD. We'll you can't join the show live this week, can you? But usually you could join the show live and put questions in. But yeah, that'll be uploaded onto YouTube on Wednesday at 7 p.m. as it goes live on the Wave.
Yeah, awesome. No, we're not answering any more questions. That's it. No more questions. We're ending the episode. And
he's not in Hull. I can tell you that one. He's not in Hull.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us tonight, putting all the questions in. But we have run out of time now. So we'll be back next week.
You've got something to watch.
Yes. Bye-bye, everyone.